Hey everyone, welcome to Project Premium Harvest. My name is Matt. In today's video, we're going to be discussing the July results for the project. In the Robinhood website, I'm going to discuss two key points. One is a portfolio value, which I don't necessarily care about, but two, I just want to discuss NAV erosion real quick. So looking at my portfolio value, it's $106,000. When I first started this project, it started off with at 102,000. So just from the June premium and the appreciation, I'm up $4,000. I still have not received the July premium, but I'll show you that the money is pending and it will be coming to my account pretty soon. So I talked about the account value. Now let's discuss the NAV erosion. Let's go back a week. So basically, this is when you see the number now, it's 122,000. Once I get my payments, that's what my account value is going to be at. But July 3rd was the declaration date. And then the ex-dividend date was July 5th. So July 4th was a holiday, so that markets were not open. But July 5th was the actual ex-dividend date. So that's why you see the significant drop of 120,000 down to the 106, 105,000, which is where my account value is at right now. But at the end of today or tomorrow, we should see that spike up. But for me, I'm going to distribute my money, paying some of the HELOC loan off, and then reinvesting some of it back into the Yieldmax funds. So let's look at the distribution yield. You can see my name. That's who I am. For the month of July, starting off with Tesla, I'm going to be getting a premium of $1,133.85. For amzy, the premium I'm going to be getting is $860.76. And where I have most of my money from the HELOC and borrowing against it is nvdy, and I will be getting $11,715.99 distribution for the month of July. In total, that's about $13,715, which is a massive premium. That's more money than I make at my day job. Now let's go over to my spreadsheet for more details, and then I'll explain the different types of strategies I'm using for this project. All right, now that we're at this spreadsheet, I'm going to start discussing a couple of the variables, policies, and then the numbers breakdown. So just going to remind everybody, these are my starting variables. So I took an $83,000 HELOC loan against a rental property I own, and then the monthly payment for that loan is $796.82. I currently have Robinhood Gold, which is $5 a month, and usually I estimate the Robinhood margin to be about $400. For taxes, the thing about these Yieldmax funds, they're a little different. So there's a term called return on capital, where not necessarily most of the fund will be taxed. However, to be safe, I'm going to highball this specific number to about 37%. I am a high income earner. And so with that being said, I'm just going to base it off of my income. And then starting off this project, I had 1,105 Tesla shares, 4,681 nvdy shares, and then 1,101 amzy shares. And I had $0 of SPY. And then with the HELOC money and my original Robinhood account value, it was $102,000, $102,355. So those are just kind of the basic numbers. Now I'm going to discuss the policies. For the Tesla and amzy funds, I'm doing a 50-50 investment policy. The reason why I'm doing a 50-50 investment policy is I'm not necessarily sure that these Yieldmax funds haven't been tested over a long period of time, right? Right now, they look really sexy. I'm getting a ton of money, but long term, we don't know the actual results that these funds are going to produce, right? So right now, it's a pretty good bull market, and I'm trying to figure out the right strategy to protect myself in a bear market as well. So I came up with the 50-50 model, and I'm going to run with it until it needs to be changed out. But the biggest point of this whole project is my nvdy thesis. So right now for nvdy, every time I get a premium, I'm going to pay 75% of it back into the HELOC loan so I can pay it off faster, but then reinvest 25% of that nvdy premium back into nvdy so I can buy more shares. So in theory, over time, I'm going to make more money, and then I'll pay off the loan faster. And just for kind of checks and balances, I will not go above 75% margin in Robinhood. I could technically go higher, but I'm worried that in the case that Robinhood changes the maintenance requirement for these Yieldmax funds from 25% to 50 to 75, I'll be able to protect myself and not necessarily have to sell out everything I own. And then I'm going to be doing quarterly reviews to either increase or decrease margin to ensure that I'm not going too far over or too far below, and always making sure I'm maximizing my money. So what is the goal? The goal is eventually to pay off the HELOC loan. And if everything seemed safe enough, I'm going to do it again, right? So in theory, in the next 4 years, I want to use up my HELOC loan twice. One maximizing nvdy and one HELOC loan maximizing amzy. So I estimate about 17 to 18 months to pay off the nvdy HELOC loan. And then once I go through the process of getting another HELOC for amzy, because the way the HELOC loan works is I cannot, even though I paid off, I technically can't get rid of it for a 5-year period. So in that 5-year period, I might as well reuse the loan again to make more money, right? So let's go into the details now. So in the month of June, the Tesla payout was 6,448, and then the month of July, the payout was about $1 per share. The nvdy payment for the month of June was 2.56, and then for the month of July is 2.47. amzy payout for June was 0.9541, and then for the month of July it was 0.765, which is kind of a lot lower than I was expecting. I was expecting something in the ones, but it is what it is. So just as I showed you on the Robinhood, I had a Tesla premium of $1,133.85, nvdy at $11,715.99, and amzy at $860.76. That total premium comes out to $13,710.60. All right, this is the number that nobody really wants to talk about, is taxes. No one really understands how these Yieldmax funds are taxed. So the best thing you can do is prepare yourself and kind of highball the number instead of selling yourself short and then having to cough up money to then pay Uncle Sam his taxes. So let's kind of talk about the details here. 37% of $13,710 is $5,072. Right. So I'm not necessarily going to set aside this money just yet. I'm going to maintain this money invested into the Yieldmax funds and either SPY. And then when 2025 comes around, I'm just not going to reinvest the premiums for the month of January, February, or March. And I'll try to do my taxes by March. And if I need another month of premium, I'll wait for April's premium and then submit my taxes. So I don't plan on setting aside any of the tax money just yet for 2024. But once 2025 hits, I'll stop taking premiums and then set that money aside for taxes. As mentioned earlier, the monthly HELOC payment is $796.82. And then the margin cost to borrow about $75,000 was $373.87. So the total debt cost with taxes, HELOC monthly payment, and the margin was $6,243. And I had a net gain of $7,466.99. So that's just kind of like the big satellite view, but of the money that I'm actually going to see and I can receive. And if I wanted to pull it out, I can. But this is the next thing I'm going to talk about, is why I'm doing this in the first place, right? So for me to make $13,710, it costs me only $1,170.69 of debt. And then with that, I netted $12,539.91. I literally didn't do anything in July. I literally didn't do anything to make this kind of money. This is more than my day job. I didn't have to go work hard labor. I didn't have to go outside, work in the heat, work in the cold, insert whatever reason. I was able to leverage debt to then increase my net worth by $12,000 by pretty much doing nothing. I went to get a loan that took me about 30 minutes to figure out. I set up the distributions and a strategy, and then now I'm reaping the results, right? So if you just look at the 2 months of me investing using debt, it cost me about $2,000 to make about $20,000, right? And that's extremely important. This is extremely important because if I didn't do this strategy or I didn't attempt this project, I wouldn't have $20,000. I wouldn't have 12,000. I wouldn't have 8,000. I would have zero extra dollars, right? The reason why I did this strategy in the first place is I'm already maxing out all of my other accounts, right? Maxing out my 401k with employer match, maxing out my health savings account, maxing out my Roth IRA. I have to do a backdoor because they make too much money. I'm already doing all the right things, but my only issue with all those tax advantage accounts is it's going to take 30 years for me to see that money. I hate that idea. I absolutely despise that idea. So therefore, I wanted to figure out a way that I can potentially retire earlier, but two, also make an extra side income to increase my quality of life. And thank goodness that Yieldmax came out with these options funds, because I think this is the solution, right? In 2 months of doing this, my net worth is increased about $20,000, right? So let's see. Now diving into a couple of more details after my soapbox there. For my 50-50 strategy, I don't know if I discussed it better earlier, but basically 50-50 is I reinvest 50% of the Yieldmax premium back into the fund, and the other 50% I want to have a core foundational holding that's very stable, right? And that's to protect myself against risk, bear markets, bull markets, but the whole point of this is I am going to buy SPY or like a very stable index fund, and then I'm still going to borrow against it 75% of its value. So I want a core holding so then I could borrow against, right? So in the case there is a bear market, I can just cut the fat, which would be like the Yieldmax, and I would still have a core holding of SPY after I'm done. So in the month of June, I was able to buy $881 worth of SPY. And then in the month of July, once I finally get paid, I'll distribute the funds accordingly. And I made about $1,000 that I can put towards SPY. So like 1.8 shares. For the remaining HELOC, after I made the first payment in June, the number left over is $77,967.16. I haven't received the premium for July, but once I do get the money, 75% of the nvdy premium will be going towards this. And that's going to be, one second, and that's going to be about $8,700 towards this. So maybe by end of July, this will be in the 60,000s left. So that'd be kind of cool. So the end of month for June was 102,000, and then for July, I still haven't received the July premium. So once I receive it, distribute the money accordingly with the 50-50 strategy, the 75-20, then I'll update this number. But pretty much that's the end of this video. I wanted to discuss quick view of NAV erosion, my account value, and Robinhood to show you that, yes, I am doing this strategy. I'm not just talking out of my ass, because I think it's important for people to see the numbers and have the transparency. There's a bunch of YouTubers that are saying they're doing this strategy, but you don't actually know because they're not willing to show you their performance or the actual numbers. So, and also I heard that some people think that creating spreadsheets is a hobby. I'm all about it. I love it because this helps me plan for future events and to see when I could potentially pay this loan off sooner. What if I can pay it off sooner? Then where can I put money? Where can I work more efficiently? So this strategy allows me to do that by looking at spreadsheets. And then I have a couple of videos down the pipeline that I want to discuss. I should make a video about what 50-50 policy is, and then 75-25. For me, for now, this is kind of good enough, but I will definitely discuss the why a little bit more effectively in a separate video. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. Hope you guys get motivated to do this. I'm not a financial advisor, so by no means don't start taking out every type of credit you can. Make sure you're doing the right things first. But once you are done doing the right things, I highly recommend this strategy. I highly recommend this strategy because the projections I'm coming up with are they're life changing, right? So hope to see you guys soon. Have a good one. Talk to you later. One more thing, I just saw that my account value shot up. So just here's proof of what I was talking about earlier. Account value was 120,000 on the declaration date. Ex-dividend date, July 5th, what dropped down to 104,000, 105,000. And then once the payout happens, I'm back up to the 120,000.